Hello everyone, welcome to Milk for Tea. I'm Daniel Edmond and I'm here at Colston Hall with my TEDx speech coach Samuel Williams.
Hi.
Thank you for being with me today.
You're welcome.
Perfect. So I'm giving a TEDx talk in next week on November 11th here at Colston Hall. You've been helping me along with the process. Just wanted to welcome you here, bring you on board as well to speak about the type of training that you do. You run a company called Hodos Consultancy Co. So can you tell us a bit about your company and how you got started?
Yeah, so Hodos Consultancy Co., we brand ourselves as narrative consultants. So that sounds sort of pretentious, but the reality is we are storytellers and we help people magnify the message of their story. So whether that's working with startups and organizations, helping them understand their organizational narrative, or whether it's working with people like yourself who are giving a presentation or a pitch and helping them really write good content and deliver that with power. Or on the other hand, we have some visual storytelling. So that's graphic design and developing graphics for people, logos, typography, that sort of thing.
Perfect. Where'd the name come from for the company?
Yeah, Hodos is it's an ancient Greek word actually, and it means the way.
Yeah.
And so for us, we're about helping people, developing people along their way, them finding their way in their message. When there's loads of options and on ways, I suppose, out there for them to take in terms of their presentation or their graphics. And actually, we want to say at Hodos Consultancy Co., we're going to help you find the way that will, secure success.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So for those who haven't been in a speech class or speech coaching session, what could someone expect from a class of yours or maybe a class that they have nearby?
Yeah. I guess in the first instance, it depends on what they're after.
Yeah.
For me, and what someone could expect from what I do is actually I hold up individual value of each person as really paramount. I hope you found that in the TEDx.
It's been good.
And that's the position that I start from in saying that actually your story, each individual story is of real importance and of value to whatever it is they're communicating. Whether it's an organization and actually what's their value, what's the CEO's value, their experience, or whether it's an individual, but really saying, hey, your story is of value, how do we communicate that? So really bigging people up, saying, hey, you're of value, you're of worth, your story's of worth. That's where we start. And what else do you get from that? Well, we do script writing, so working with what words are particularly maybe emotional, or are gripping, are powerful words, sentence structure, right through to standing on stage and well, maybe don't move that way, use your hands in this way. The whole point of what we do is that people's stories, people's narratives can be put across in the most powerful, the most successful manner. And so we work as a whole, the whole person. We work with the whole person in a holistic manner to really drive that home.
Perfect. I can agree with that. I think one of the benefits I've had with working with you with TEDx, and I'm really fortunate and glad that they allocated me to you, is that you've really helped me to value myself and value my perspective and value what I have to say. And I think in turn, I think that's actually helps my confidence as well. Not just with delivering a speech or delivering a talk, but I think personally with my confidence in saying, I actually can give value. Because I think a lot of times we as people, we think, I don't really have anything to say, or no one wants to listen to what I have to say, or I may not have done X, Y, Z, like this person has. And I think we definitely live in a generation where we compare ourselves to people a lot. And so we say, oh, I don't really have anything to offer. But we all do. And I think you have definitely helped me understand that. And I think that's definitely something that your company particularly can help other people do, is really find the value in their voice. So no matter what background you come from, no matter what story you have, there's value in every single story. Every person has value. And that's definitely something you've helped me realize.
Fantastic.
It's been great. What's some of the biggest advice, or the best advice rather, that you can give to those who are watching, who may be going and starting public speaking soon, or may have an event where they have to public speak, or maybe a meeting or a proposal that they have to give, whether it's in the corporate setting or another setting? What's some advice you can give to those watching that you can give them to better their talk and just some points of interest?
Yeah. Well, if you're speaking, I think be confident.
Yeah.
Confidence is key. And even if you're a nervous person, even if you're nervous about giving your talk, the truth is we all get nervous.
Yeah.
No matter how much you've spoken before, in big stages, small stages, we all get nervous.
Yeah.
And it's about managing those nerves. And a way to manage those nerves is through knowing your talk, knowing your content really well,
Yeah.
being confident in your message. Something that's really key is owning your genius. We spoke earlier about that value. Owning your value, it's your story. And whether you're in a corporate setting talking about finances, or whether you're in a forum like TEDx Bristol where you're talking about very personal stuff, actually your personal story, your personal experience and viewpoint can be brought into that, into the finances. Well, actually, I see it in this way. So owning your experience is really important. Not trying to leave your personality at the doorway when you step into the boardroom, but coming in as yourself. I would say that's number one.
Yeah.
Know your value as a person. Be confident. Fake it till you make it if you have to. And as I was saying to you this morning, be more guerrilla.
Yeah.
When you're on stage, it's about claiming your territory. You're on stage for a reason, and usually that reason is you're in the right place because you're the person to give that message.
Yeah.
So know that. Be confident in that. Sit happily in that. If you can do those things, if you can be confident, own your genius, be more guerrilla, a lot of the things will fall into place. You'll carry the audience with you if you're confident, if you set them at ease by saying, hey, I've got you, I'm confident in what I've got to deliver.
So my talk, as you know, is speaking a lot on the state of masculinity. What are your thoughts about the current state of where men seem to be at in their ways of thinking, the ways of expressing themselves authentically, and just overall around the world, the culture of men right now? What are your thoughts on that?
It's a huge question.
It's a massive question, but you know what? No fatigue. That's what we're trying to depict.
Yeah. Well, maybe if I give you a little bit of my story, it might be helpful for you to see where I'm at, I suppose. So I grew up, I'm one of four. I have two sisters and a brother. And I remember writing, I don't journal too much, but I used to write poetry.
Yeah.
And I remember writing a poem that I've never shared this with anyone before, actually, interestingly. But my brother at the time, I must have been 13 or 14 years old. And growing up as a mixed race person in the Cotswolds, in a fairly small town, village, there were very few other people who I felt I could relate to in some of those ways, of ethnic background and faith as well, actually, with the people I was spending time with. But my brother at the time was playing basketball for England. My sisters were both very academic and achieving well, and I remember writing a poem, which I can't remember the words right now, and if I did, I wouldn't recite it, but it was along the lines of...
It's a safe place, my friend.
You know, I was expressing something of, I felt like my brother was achieving in basketball, my sisters were achieving in their academic skills, and what was I? I was not white, I was not black, I was not that good at basketball, I was not that good at academics, and I felt almost like I was nothing because I wasn't what they were. And I compared myself, you mentioned it earlier, but I compared myself to what other people were, and saw the excellence of other people, and therefore it felt like it highlighted my lacking of that excellence. And it took me years to recognize my own worth in that, actually. Years of sort of exploring my own identity. For a long time I thought of myself as the kind of slightly good-looking one who I could chat up women. And it sounds sort of funny, but actually that's, I think, where I place myself. for some years. And it took me a long time to realize, actually, that's really empty.
Yeah.
And it wasn't me. That wasn't me, actually. That's not my identity. And over the years, I've started to learn, actually, the value, as we spoke about, the value of who I am and where I'm at. And that wouldn't to say that I've got it all right in any sense now. Secretly, I'm a bit of a gym rat. I love to go and lift weights and feel like I'm feeling good, but I also like to look good.
Yeah.
And I recognise that sometimes that's not healthy for me, actually.
Yeah.
For me, because why? Because I still recognise part of me that I'm motivated by what I look like, my external appearance, and not that that's not important. I think it is,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure that we should be governed by that,
No, yeah,
and what we think other people think about that.
Yeah.
And I think that might be where some of male society, some of what I can relate to, is at today. Some of masculinity there's been a rise in what they're terming bigorexia. This sort of need to get bigger. There's been a huge rise in steroid use. I've never used steroids, but I know that that's a real pressure that a lot of men are going through. And I guess when I think about why is this the case? Why do I love to hit the gym and lift those weights and feel the burn and see the muscles grow? This is probably not the blanket case. So for me, I think sometimes it's a sense of lacking, or it's a sense of
Filling a void.
it's a sense of filling a void.
Yeah.
Not entirely. I think there's a sense of actually I'm healthy, and I'm healthy in my body, and that's a good thing. But there's a little part for me personally, which is maybe trying to do something with my body that I feel is lacking inside sometimes. Trying to build that up, trying to find that. Always fully knowing that it's never going to achieve that thing. And that's about something else. But and I wonder whether for masculinity today, moving from this need to fulfill a void by building up the exterior, actually sits in part of what we were talking about earlier of value, of recognizing that your background is of worth, recognizing that you're not half a person, you're a whole person within the diversity of who you are. And so whatever that is, to be true to that, to recognize that, recognize the wealth of that, to recognize that each individual is the only person who can offer whatever that thing is in the whole world, utterly unique. To recognize that, and when I recognize that, actually I suddenly start to realize, gee, I probably don't need to lift the weights quite so much so as to fulfill that. Actually, because it's already there.
Definitely.
Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense. I think it's a lot of, it's the same thing. I think with me, I had this kind of revelation, per se. I think almost just a few months ago. I think it's quite recent for me. I put a lot of value in my clothes, and I felt that people valued me because of the clothes I wore, and I didn't realize how much value I put in them until I was in a position where I was like, I wanted to get rid of some of them, but I was attached. And then I realized, then you're actually really attached to these clothes, because I felt like if I didn't dress a certain way, people wouldn't like me. And if I didn't dress a certain way, people wouldn't want to have me around. Because I felt like people valued me because of the way I looked, in terms of the way I dressed. And we do it without even realizing. Because if you would have asked me, I would have said, no, never. But I was putting value in that. And we have to, and it's helped me realize too that clothes are just things. They're aesthetics are an important part. That I won't deny that, but clothes are great, and I think anyone who knows me knows I love my clothes. But
You're still looking sharp,
well,
right now.
well, man, hey, it's all stuff. But they don't speak to my value. They could never, no amount of clothes or amount of working out could ever speak to the value of a person. They're just things, and they don't. As much as style is important, on the other hand, you have to make sure that it doesn't, consume you, because it's an outward thing. Last one, man. What's the best advice you've been given?
So, advice. Wow. I think the truth is we've spoken about a lot of it.
Yeah.
Let go.
Yeah.
Embrace yourself. For me, let God
Yeah.
as well. I think let go. What do I mean by that? Let go of all of these things that we hold on to, that we try and create our identity by what we have, and recognize that we've got it in who we are.
Yeah.
For me, that really is key, because that runs throughout. It runs throughout my company, because I recognize that actually I can offer something to society. I can offer something to a client.
Yeah.
And I don't need to put something, I don't need to put on anything. Actually, I've got something in myself that I can offer. I've got something from my experiences that I can offer. So let me offer that. With my daughters, I've got something to offer. I don't need to be something else to them. So let go of all of those things controlling me and realize that, hey, I can just start being me. So let go, start being. Maybe might sum up all of those things that I've been advised to do, to be like.
So, that sounds great, man. Samuel, thank you so much for being with me today.
It's been great.
Appreciate it, and I guess we'll see each other next at TEDx Bristol.
Absolutely.
Sounds good, man.
Sweet.
See you guys next time.